Attention to those who like wearing contact lenses. You might not know how many lenses you've actually been wearing. A woman named Edith was experiencing a very severe headache. The paramedics who arrived asked if she had a history of migraines or seizures. Her answer was no. Tommy then checked her pupils and discovered that the problem was in her eye.
Do you wear contacts? I do. Do you forget to take them out sometimes?
Edith said that sometimes she forgot about them, but the contacts would fall out on their own. However, Tommy noticed something unusual. An old contact seemed to be stuck in her eye. TK applied a few drops of saline solution. Tommy grabbed a cotton swab.
Do you think I really have 2 lenses in? Not 2.
She instructed Edith to stay still. Quickly, she managed to pull out 2 contacts, but that was far from the end. Soon, she removed several more. Finally, all the contacts were taken out and placed in a collection bag.
How many were in there?
More than a dozen?
The men were stunned.
Well, it's a lot more common than you might think. There was a woman in the UK who had 27 removed.
Oh my goodness.
Once everything was packed up, the paramedics were about to take Edith to the hospital when something unexpected happened. A private ambulance arrived. Paramedic Pierce claimed that Edith was an important client of theirs and that they had always been responsible for her care. He insisted she go with them, citing familiarity with her needs and medical history.
Then you should have been aware that Mrs. Sullivan is suffering from fluffy eye syndrome. We're taking her to St. Ray's for a follow-up.
But Pierce shamelessly claimed she would be more comfortable in their ambulance with the LED lighting and the herbal smoothies on tap.
Oh, I could really use a smoothie.
So Edith insisted on going in Pierce's ambulance. Seeing his smug expression, the paramedics were very angry.
That rat bastard stole our patient.
Firefighters were dispatched to a unit after a woman claimed it was a false alarm blaming electrical work being done. Casey led the team inside to investigate. They noticed an eerie atmosphere and saw damage to a picture frame on the wall. Using a thermal imager, the firefighters discovered a fire inside the wall. Casey pulled down the fabric covering and uncovered a safe with visible damage. He quickly realized it was an attempted robbery. Just then, the robbers took the firefighters hostage.
You 2 firemen on the floor, face down.
One of the robbers continued working on opening the safe. Meanwhile, the fire in the wall began to spread. Casey warned that they didn't have time to open the safe, as the smoke was becoming overwhelming.
You got about 3 minutes until this entire place is engulfed, and you're all dead.
As the fire intensified, the room filled with smoke, forcing everyone to evacuate one by one.
Run, single file! All right, come on, walk back!
Finally, Casey saw an opportunity and knocked the last robber to the ground. An apartment fire spread rapidly across 16 units, trapping families in their rooms. As the team carefully rescued each person, Chief Bowden noticed black smoke rising from the rooftop. He immediately called for an evacuation.
All right, I'm calling it. Evacuate the building right now.
Just as Casey was about to leave, he opened a door and found a baby safe and sound. He held the baby close and rushed out, but the fire had already engulfed the hallway. Outside, the team waited anxiously. Just as Casey found an exit, a beam collapsed, trapping him and the baby. The squad rushed in to save them. With everyone's efforts, they managed to rescue Casey and the baby, but Casey had already fallen unconscious. He was rushed to the hospital. Everyone waited there for news about Casey. Dawson cried as she watched the nurses prepare him for the procedure, unsure if he would survive. On the road, a serious car accident occurred. A car unexpectedly crashed into the second floor of a building. Firefighters were shocked when seeing this.
Must have been going damn fast.
Due to the position of the car at this moment, it could fall down at any time. The firefighters dared not delay. Quickly, they secured the car with ropes, temporarily fixing it to the door frame. Firefighter Stella climbed up the ladder, trying to rescue the driver from the outside. However, the man's foot was firmly stuck. Stella had to take the risk and crawl into the car. But then, the door frame, unable to bear such weight, deformed. Kelly immediately jumped onto the hood, using his body's strength to maintain the car's balance. Others reinforced the car with ropes, trying to pull it with their strength. The man's foot was finally successfully pulled out, and quickly moved onto the ladder. But as the balance was disrupted, the car slid down again. With everyone's joint efforts, the car was barely stopped from sliding further. Stella didn't hesitate. She quickly climbed out desperately. Firefighters were dispatched to the scene of an accident on a city street, where a man's leg was trapped under a fallen truck.
What happened here, Steve?
Cable snapped. Doesn't hurt as much as you think.
An initial medical assessment revealed damage to an artery in his leg, and an irregular heartbeat leading to the conclusion that he was experiencing crash syndrome. It was determined that if the heavy object were lifted off his leg, his heart would likely stop beating immediately.
If we're gonna save this guy, we're gonna have to leave the leg behind.
Okay, call Chicago Med. Tell him to send a trauma surgeon. I'm gonna have to amputate.
With no other viable options, Lieutenant Casey spoke with the man's wife, explaining that the only way to save his life was to amputate the leg.
No.
If there was any other option, we'd take it.
After considering the situation, the wife agreed to the procedure.
Can I hold his hand?
The firefighters then assisted in amputating the man's leg to prevent further complications. Following the procedure, the man was stabilized and transported to the hospital for recovery. Paramedics responded to a call after a woman reported hearing someone enter through her back door. Fearing it was an intruder, she stabbed the person, only to realize it was her neighbor Luis. Paramedics were shocked to see the man was stabbed with a fork. Even more shocking, it was directly in his heart.
Oh my God.
The immediate concern was stabilizing the fork. Dawson asked the woman if she had a bundt cake pan with a hole in the center.
Yeah, I got one.
Chowd, a new paramedic, seemed puzzled. Dawson told him to rock and roll. Dawson then carefully placed the cake pan over the fork.
Should stop anything from knocking into it, sending it in any deeper.
And secured it with tape, preparing to transport the man to the hospital. The firefighters arrived at the scene of a major street collision involving several vehicles. A blue minivan, its front end severely crushed, drew immediate attention. Inside, the team spotted booster seats, causing concern about possible child passengers. After confirming that no children were inside, they began breaking the windows to reach the trapped occupants. Meanwhile, Chief Bowden, who caught the scent of gasoline in the air, ordered the crew to prepare the hoses in case of a fire. Casey entered the vehicle and found the driver critically injured with her body pinned by the wreckage. On the other side of the vehicle, 2 passengers were bleeding heavily. Suddenly, the driver pressed the gas pedal in a panic.
That guy caused the whole thing, was driving like a lunatic.
Kelly rushed to have the paramedic administer a sedative. New crew member Chout hesitated momentarily but eventually managed to give the injection successfully. On the other side, paramedic Dawson, small and agile, climbed into the car to offer emergency aid to the woman. With the help of hydraulic tools, they freed the woman. As they worked, the vehicle burst into flames. In a tense moment, Casey shielded Dawson from the fire, while the rest of the team extinguished the flames quickly. Ultimately, they all escaped the burning car safely.
Good.
Breast size are decreasing, he's got a fever. What was the last thing he ate?
Oh my God. Are you okay? Is he okay? What is that?
You mind telling me where you flew in from today?
Bashran. It's in the Middle East. What?
I think we're dealing with a contagious disease. We need to go into lockdown immediately. Starting right now, no one gets off this train.
This is Dr. Mukherjee with the CDC. There's been a serious outbreak of bird flu in Bashran. Could be more airborne and far more contagious.
And why is it so freaking hot in here?
We have a situation. It's possible that there is a communicable disease in this train car. We have been asked by the CDC to quarantine this car.
That means nobody gets on, nobody gets off.
Bird flu? I'm not a bird.
Fatality rates as high as 60%. Bing, bang, boom, new virus, pandemic, we all die.
Okay.
It's that kid, isn't it? He brought it on this train with the coughing and the blood.
Will, help! Hey, don't do that. The CDC is almost
Hey, screw you.
Focus. This kid is going into shock.